Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Ryan Williams here. I'm wondering if we have Lilius on the line. Lilius, are you around? Okay, before we get going, I'm just wondering if you could go ahead and just let me know whether you can actually hear the audio, whether the audio is good. There's a little chat function on the right-hand side, please. Okay, it seems like the audio is working, which is great news. Lilius will be online shortly. So for those of you that are new to us, first of all, I'd like to extend a heartfelt welcome. My name is Ryan Williams. I am from Insight Health Groups. Our website is quantumhealthapps.com. Now, you're probably wondering why you are here today. So, first and foremost, let me assure you that you've made the right decision today. If you are familiar with biofeedback, if you've heard about biofeedback, perhaps you're a biofeedback practitioner, then this is the webinar for you. Hopefully, we're going to be going through some great information today, going through some solid, practical, real-life biofeedback tips to help you either as a practitioner or perhaps somebody that's thinking about actually getting involved as a biofeedback technician or as a biofeedback practitioner, practitioner. So you're going to be hearing from Lilia Samira. She's one of the top biofeedback practitioners in the industry. She hails actually from the prestigious Hale Clinic in London, UK. So Lilius, once you're online, just go ahead and say hi to everyone. But I'm just going to move forward with our great webinar on biofeedback. Now, the great thing,
Ryan, I'm with you.
Oh, fantastic, Lydia. So glad you joined us. Well, I hope you can see the screen. I'm just going to go through a quick welcome and then we'll pull you into the conversation shortly, okay?
Excellent.
Fantastic. So, the good thing with the webinar is, first of all, we can reach people throughout the world, which is really fantastic news. The great thing is I recognize your time is valuable. We're not here to waste your time. And certainly the idea is that we'd like to encourage you to stick around for the webinar. Part of the incentive, part of our gift to you is, to me, what is a webinar without a free gift at the end? So those of you that want to stick around, be sure to try and stay to the end because we have a free gift. Yes, free, absolutely free. So Stick around. Hopefully you will be enjoying it. So the first things first, am I wasting my time? What can they teach me? What are they going to try and sell me today? This is the biggest challenge I think we all faced with. So the first thing is, this is up for you. This is up to you to decide. Are you wasting your time today? I can't answer that for you. All that I can say is we got a fantastic practitioner on board. She's been around with biofeedback for many, many years. She uses a great product. She uses it in a real-time clinical environment. She works at the prestigious Hale Clinic. There really is, to me, as long as you are interested in biofeedback or health and wellness, I don't believe you'll be wasting your time. Solid, practical advice and suggestions for any person that is interested in biofeedback. What can they teach you? Well, hopefully by the end of the session, we would have been able to give you some snippets of information. If we succeed, great. If we don't succeed, guess what? We've only wasted an hour of your time, maybe even 45 minutes, and you can send us an email and I'll be sure to do my best to make it up to you. What are we going to try and sell you today? Well, this is the begging question. So the great news is we don't want to sell you anything. We don't want your credit card information. We don't want to sell you anything. So if that doesn't encourage you to stick around, well, then I don't really know how we can encourage you to stick around. So the next begging question is this webinar for me? I'll tell you who this webinar is not for. If you are looking for a get-rich-quick scheme, if you're looking for a way to make money without having to do anything, this webinar is not going to work for you. However, if you are an existing biofeedback technician or practitioner, I think this is a great webinar for you. We're going to be exploring biofeedback as a modality. If you are interested in health and wellness as a sort of generic term, it's my sense that you will be able to get some solid information about our webinar and about our products and about our services, something that you can apply in a real life health and wellness environment. So for those of you that are new to biofeedback, I thought I'd just pull this from the internet just to give you a brief overview about biofeedback. Biofeedback, it's the process of gaining a greater awareness of many physiological functions, primarily using instruments that provide information on the activity of those same systems, with a goal of being able to manipulate them at will. Some of the processes can be controlled: brain waves, muscle tone, skin conductance, heart rate, and even pain perception. Biofeedback can be used to improve health performance and the physiological changes that often occur in conjunction with changes to thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Maybe complex, I don't know. But the reality is bio is a two-way feedback. It's a two-way information system. So really what we're doing is that we are finding ways to read information about the body. Once we can read information about the body as a practitioner, it helps you glean a deeper insight about your client's current state of health. Or for those of you that are looking at using biofeedback for your own personal reasons, by being able to control or identify your biofeedback mechanism, it helps you take greater sense of responsibility. It helps you take control of your own health as well by being able to control certain biofeedback mechanisms. So there's many different kinds of biofeedback practices or biofeedback technology as we went through. You've got your galvanic skin response, heart rate variability, EEG, EMG, which is for your muscle tension, voice spectral analysis, and then thermal biofeedback as well. There's probably a few other different kinds of biofeedback, but really anything which has the ability to actually feed back information to either you or the practitioner would be considered a form of biofeedback. So our presenters today, my name, as you can see, and hopefully you can see the difference, is Ryan Williams. I'm the person on the right. And today we have Lilius Amira. So once again, Lilius, thank you so much for joining us. Once again, thrilled to have you on board. Should be a lot of fun today.
I'm
so today,
really looking forward to it.
Well, before you do look forward to it, Lilius, really what I want to ask you today is, why don't you give us a bit of information about yourself, please? Your practice, your skills, where you're working, etc.
Thank you, Ryan. I was set on a journey that I wasn't expecting about 20 years ago. I was already started as a holistic practitioner, and I was working with magnets and electronic germ therapy. And my second son was diagnosed as severely autistic. And I was told by a pediatrician that I should basically forget about him. He'd never go to university. He'd never amount to much, and to basically have another child. And the air became a little blue as I explained to the pediatrician that you should never put boundaries on a child so young. And I walked out of that office deciding I had to do something. And from that moment on, sought out the very best doctors, scientists in the world that I could study with, because I had a job to do. And that's pretty much how I got to today. I have studied with the most brilliant doctors and scientists. I spent a lot of time doing autonomic response testing with Dietrich Klinghardt. I've worked with Tim Ray. And it's taken me on a journey very much as to how I can sort my son out. But through that, I have learned so many things, which has enabled me to help so many other people. My practice is predominantly people with chronic illness, with the autoimmune system, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, ME. But people tend to come to me when nobody else seems to be able to fix them. I used to be the last bus. I'm lucky now that I've earned my stripes, and I tend to be one of the first people they come to. And I work from my clinic in Somerset. I'm very lucky to work from Harley Street in London. And I do a lot of my work online over Skype or over Zoom. And that is the beauty of this system, which we'll go into more, is that you don't have to have a specific geographic area. You can help the whole world if you can, get a link to them. It's absolutely outstanding.
Fantastic. Thank you. And on that note, before we go any further, we do have some, we'll call them some virtual house or maybe some webinar rules. So the first rule is, the good news is we will not be reviewing your videos. In other words, we can't see you. So you can feel quite comfortable. You can be in your pajamas. You can be having a cup of coffee. Absolutely no problem. We will certainly not be able to see you. So do not worry about that in any way. The other thing is that we do have a questions bar on the right-hand side. If you do have any questions, you can go ahead and post those questions. I'm not too sure how I'm going to be able to see them, because at the moment I'm looking at the presentation just like yourself, but maybe we'll sort of flip backwards and forwards and see if we can review any of those questions. So that, again, that is on the right-hand side. The best way to ask a question is just go ahead and then type it in accordingly. So today what we're going to be discussing, or what we're going to be sharing information about, is one of the different kinds of biofeedback that is out there. As I mentioned, you have brainwave, you have EEG, etc. What Lilius has been using for a good few years now is a biofeedback application, very similar to your traditional biofeedback technology. On the right-hand side, it can detect the energetic disturbances in the voice. These biofeedback apps, they're designed for portable devices, iPads, iPhone, Android tablets, and other devices. And it analyzes the voice based upon your own unique voice imprint. So with that voice imprint, we take a complex wave pattern, and then we simplify it using what's known as a fast Fourier algorithm. So voice analysis, it's really just another biofeedback technique, similar to something like galvanic skin response, which is known as GSR, or brainwave EEG analysis. So let's turn the focus on you, Lilius, for a while, if you don't mind. What I'm curious about is, tell us something we don't know, something personal. Married, children, how many children, how many dogs, how many cats? Are you a dog person? Are you a cat person?
Are you ready for this? I live on a farm.
Oh my gosh, okay. And dogs, pigs, cats, cows, chickens?
We've got 10 chickens. I've got 4 dogs. 2 of them are 32 inches at the shoulder, so they put their head over most tabletops, so you can't put anything on a table without worrying whether it's going to be there when you return to the room. 3 children. 2 neurotypical, 1 borderline autistic now. He's almost recovered. Live with a partner and spend my life talking to people all over the world. Love what I do, and probably quite bonkers with it, but very much got my feet on the ground and very much determined to look at what is the root cause of stuff and have a sense of humor about how we can get you to the right place.
Ah, fantastic. You know what? I think to be involved in this industry, we've always got to be a bit sort of bonkers one way or another. So I think if you're bonkers, I think you've chosen the right industry. So certainly thrilled to have you on board. So I guess my first question is, and I'm sure this is many of your questions as well, to somebody that's thinking about starting out in the world of biofeedback, what kind of advice do you have to them?
I think you need to look at what you are trying to achieve and work within the realms of your capabilities. There is so much information out there. You need to find a device where there is lots of good backup, lots of help, and lots of service. And this is where your company, Ryan, has been outstanding, because you have a very good feedback system. There's excellent training, and it's easy for people to find out what they should be doing. And you constantly are updating things and moving with the times. Once you buy an app in many environments, there's no update, there's no change, and you are constantly reinventing and evolving. And that's what's so exciting. You are keeping up with the times. So make sure, if you're looking for something, that it's going to keep up with where you want to be, and it's going to give you the opportunity to reach the people that you want to reach.
Thank you. I guess, just on a little side note, one of the first apps that we came out with was probably about 6 years ago. And the inspiration behind that was, at that stage, myself and my wife, we were both ministers of this church. And we went to this meeting, and we did a sort of guided meditation. And during that guided meditation, I literally got a sort of download dump, if you will. And I sort of visualized exactly how we could take, one of the more expensive items that we had been involved with for about $15,000 and condense it into an app. It was actually my wife that had said that, we should start looking at developing apps. And from this ministers' meeting, everything just became so clear to me in terms of how the screens would look and how we could do the voice analysis. Part of my interest in voice analysis as a child, I used to suffer from a speech impediment. In some ways, I still do now. My 14-year-old son, I don't want to say he has a speech impediment, but, when he's around certain people, he does get shy, he does get study, he does get nervous. So he does have a tendency for that. So I've always had a very strong inkling for, voice and voice analysis. Anyways, it took us about, I think, maybe 6 or 7 months to come out with our first app. And we actually launched it on Memorial Day, which I guess is coming up soon here. So I think this will be our 6-year anniversary. And I kid you not, by the time we launched it, we literally had $20 to our name. We were up till, I think, 4:30 or 5 in the morning. We put the final video together, and we thought, oh gosh, here we go. And since then, it's been great. We've really enjoyed the whole concept of app development, finding ways to create sort of unique, interactive biofeedback applications. To me, is something which is my passion. Been doing it now for the last 6 years. I've been involved with this industry probably for the last 15 years. I've had practices in South Africa, practices in the UK. And for the last, maybe 13, 14 years, I've been involved more with the design, development, manufacturing, training of various biofeedback equipment. But anyway, enough about that. So Lilius, my next question, deciding factors when you are looking to invest in biofeedback equipment. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to that?
I think I had a really big deciding factor. I was traveling around from one practice to another, lugging crates of test kits. And you can only see so many people in a day. And if I was doing muscle testing, and I was employing other people to support me, and it came to me that I was spending more money traveling and paying people to support me than actually reaching the people I wanted to reach. And this is what was so utterly outstanding about getting into biofeedback, was that I could put all of my test kits onto an app. I could then create programs of my own that were specific to my clients, and I didn't have to carry lots and lots of stuff. The other thing is, when you use muscle testing and other devices, you have human error. And we all occasionally have we're up all night, the children kept you up, or you're jolly tired, or you've been to a party, and you're not on your game the next morning. An app doesn't tend to have a night out on the tiles or children waking them up. It does what it's supposed to do. So there is no variation in the response that you're going to get. You're going to get exactly what you're after. And you don't have any interference in the interpretation of it. It's down to you to interpret it, but the information is exactly the same from one person to another, according to what their feedback energy is putting into the machine. And that's what I love about it. There are no off days. Occasionally you might have technical glitches, but it's rare. The testing is what it is, and that to me is really important. And it's a game changer, absolute game changer.
I got to add to that. I couldn't agree with you more. I used to find when I was involved in a practice, and you'd go away for these seminars, there would be a certain nutritional seminar that you would be invited to, or a homeopathic, remedy seminar, or some kind of a seminar that you'd be invited to. Now, what I used to find, coinky dinky, is I would go to this weekend lecture, learn about the latest herb or learn about the latest vitamin, and then I'd come back into my practice, and then guess what? For the next 2 weeks, lo and behold, every single person seemed to need one or more or a different variety of these products. And it finally dawned on me that because I was using my own sort of assessment technique, is that when you go to a seminar, you're getting an education, and almost on a sort of subconscious level, you're getting imprinted with that information. So suddenly you come back into your practice on a Monday morning and you've got this information, and suddenly, everyone needs it. And what I find really exciting about biofeedback technology as a whole sort of principle, it's unbiased. It's exactly as you say. It's not going to give you information based upon a certain protocol or based upon a certain, weekend lecture that the app went away on because now it wants to sell that product. I know people don't mean to do that intentionally, but it's on a subconscious level. It just happens. And those of you that are existing biofeedback practitioners, I'm sure that is something that you have found. If you haven't found, well then, kudos to you. But that was, certainly my experience. So Lilias, the last question here. Why did you decide on biofeedback apps as your biofeedback modality?
It's so wonderful to pitch up to a clinic with your entire office in your handbag. And I mean that literally. I've got my iPad, I have got my phone. I've got, my patient notes and various things on a computer, but actually I can run a test which is extremely in-depth from an iPad. I'm not carrying around loads of clobber. And that is just amazing. Everything, my entire office, all the knowledge I possess is on my app. And it's outstanding. And I can replicate it around all of my other technology, but I don't need to be carrying lots and lots of stuff around. And it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's easy, makes my life so easy. And if my life is easy, then I can give a much better service to my clients because I'm not stressed in any way.
Absolutely. When this whole explosion of, biofeedback, or should I say computerized biofeedback technology, sort of came to the front, there were a lot of people that would, pull up their systems at an airport or maybe on the plane. And, that whole, I'm sure we all know, how delightful it is to, to travel in a plane, where we have so much space, but then you have these practitioners, they pull out their laptop and they try to, work on the laptop. And it was very cumbersome. especially with all the different hardware accessories that actually went with that as well. And nowadays, I mean, one of the biggest benefits that our practitioners always report to us is, you know, it's like balancing on the go. It's something you can have on your iPhone, you can have on your iPad, you can have on your Android, you can be at the airport, you can be at a bus stop, you can be wherever you want, and you can begin to apply biofeedback techniques. So I totally understand that, been there, done that, got the T-shirt as well as the sore shoulder to actually carry all the biofeedback equipment as well. So a couple more questions, Lilias, if you wouldn't mind. Some of your biggest obstacles that you overcame, and how did you achieve that?
I think the biggest obstacle to overcome is people go, because a lot of my work is online, and they go, "What, you can tell what's wrong with me and test me over the internet, and you want a photograph, a picture, so, you know, a voice recording, a date of birth." And I go, absolutely. And it's getting people into a different dynamic. This is the medicine of today. Going to see your doctor is a medicine of yesterday. And now you can, you know, if you want to be with the future technology, if you want to be, you know, where medicine is going, and there's space medicine coming as well, and that's a whole different subject. But you don't have to be in the same room. You can be anywhere in the world. And if you've got somebody who really knows their stuff and really knows their practice, there is no geographical place that you can't get to as long as there is a Wi-Fi signal. And so I still have it today, people saying, "How are you going to test me?" But it's when people see that you are totally confident in what you're saying, when you've got your patter sorted out, which will come to you with practice, it's easy. And the minute you start testing, and then take, for example, people who've got IBS, and you go, "Well, what do you eat?" And they go, "I'm really healthy. I have, you know, avocado smoothies every day, and I have lentils." And you go, "Well, no wonder you've got a stomach ache." When it comes up on the panels that they're eating lectins, which are going to upset their stomach, they can see that these are the things they shouldn't be eating. And I don't have to say anything. They can absolutely see it, because I send people a copy of the panels so they can see their testing. And so they've got confirmation of what they know already. And I haven't had to say anything, because it's in black and white. This is where you feel pain, and they can relate to it. So that's probably the very biggest thing that I have to overcome. But within literally a couple of panels of information that they can see, they're absolutely on board. They're totally fascinated, and they want more, more, more. And it's great.
To tie into that, I think as well, you know, one of the sort of changing paradigms in this industry is when things began to move into a sort of computerized, visual-based sort of modality. You know, so what I mean by that is, you know, typically in the past, you'd go to your practitioner, they'd sit down, they'd maybe do maybe a sort of clinical intake form, ask you a few questions, maybe do some muscle testing or whatever it was. And then, you know, they would give you their assessments, which, you know, certainly has a lot of credence. It has a lot of validity. But now for the first time, you know, with the introduction of this computerized technology, instead of them just taking your word for it, they can actually look at the information on the screen and they can begin to relate to it. And I think, you know, going back, I don't know, however many years computerized technology or computerized biofeedback has been around, I really think, you know, that was sort of, you know, one of the defining moments, and something that really sort of capitulated biofeedback, you know, into a sort of mainstream form of modality. Because now you can enroll your clients. You can say, "Hey, you know what, look here, look what's going on." And suddenly from a sort of visual healing perspective, they can now visualize what's going on within their body, which, you know, typically will help to stimulate their own sort of, you know, their own like innate healing ability as well. So
Ryan, if I can interject here, I think the other thing is the way I work is that I will do tests on people, and then when they come back next time, I can tell them exactly where they were last time and show them on screen, and then I can show them where they are today. And the fact that they can see a comparison is wonderful, and that can be whether they are coming to me actually in clinic or whether it is online. The other thing is, when you do stuff online, there's no travel. there's no stress, and there's very little sort of white coat fear. You know, when people are having a test and there's a doctor with a white coat, their stress levels go up. That doesn't appear to happen with this. And so you're getting a far more accurate test of where that person is in the world today, which is beautiful.
Absolutely. Now, you know, one of the benefits, I say benefits with a sort of tongue-in-cheek comment, is, you know, anyone starting out in a new business, the good news is you're going to have successes as long as you keep on plugging. You're certainly going to have trials, and equally you are going to have failures. And, you know, we've got two options when we experience failures. We can either, you know, throw in the towel and say, oh, you know what, it's time to move on. Or you can take lessons from those failures and say, you know what have I learned and what can I do better next time? So maybe you just want to touch on some of those points, Lilias?
Absolutely. I think one of my greatest lessons happened a few years ago. I happened to be thumbing over a forum at about 11:30 at night, and this mother came on to Facebook, and she poured her heart out. She had a child with a genetic disorder who was extremely young. She was under a hospital professor, a university hospital, and two other big specialists. And this is one of those children that sort of had, you know, was one of a handful in the world. He was in extreme pain. He was about 4 years of age. Nobody knew what to do with him. And this mother was literally pouring and sobbing her heart out online. And various people put comments underneath and went, contact Lilias, contact Lilias. And in the end, I went, oh, sod it. Hello, I'm Lilias. Call me tomorrow and let's have a conversation on the house, because you could see this woman was absolutely bereft. When I tested the child, it was very complicated. It had a rare genetic disorder. I didn't know what I was doing, and it was very much out of my depth. But the most simple things had not been tested by the hospital. And it was really interesting. They were all focusing on the really high-end, expensive, really complicated stuff. Nobody tested his digestion. Nobody had looked at the fact that he was really allergic to lectins. And just by making some real simple changes brought about the most profound healing for this young lad. He's still very ill, but he's so much better. He's so much more comfortable. And he's an ongoing case for me. But it really taught me, always start with the basics, no matter what's been going on, because you don't know what else people have been doing. And sometimes if you keep it simple, stupid, you start with the really basic stuff, you can have the most profound healings. And I think all the way through everything that I've ever done, that one of the best pieces of advice I can say to anybody is always ask questions. There is never a stupid question, and always ask what people's hobbies are. Is it swimming pools, photographic developing? Are they a farmer? Because it's in those hobbies and in those workplaces that a lot of the nuggets of information come, and you will get the successes. And quite often the failures come because you haven't asked enough questions. And as far as I'm concerned, there is no question that shouldn't be asked, no matter how excruciatingly embarrassing or personal. It needs to be asked if there is that nagging feeling in your head.
Absolutely. So to tie into that, I guess at the end of the day, it's about your friends and family as well. So how would they describe you? As the famous nutter, or as the practitioner, or how do you think your friends and family would describe your work?
Very much as a pioneer. I'm always at the beginning, at the thrusting end of anything new. People tend to hear about new stuff from me, and they know that I live, eat, breathe my work. It's not work, actually, it's play. I'm so fortunate. I get to play every day. My alarm goes off at 5:30 in the morning and I'm researching, I'm doing patient notes, I'm looking into something new. So yes, everybody regards me as, a witch in friendly terms, and, a bit of a nutter, but they know I absolutely could not think of doing anything else. I live, eat, breathe what I do. So, friendly nutter, slight witchy person, but very definitely a serious pioneer with a very sort of scientific bent in there as well.
Okay, and you know, that actually ties into a sort of common statement that I use, is that you have the miracle and then you have the marketing. And
Yeah.
you know, a part of a biofeedback practitioner, or in fact, you know, part of anyone that wants to in fact open, you know, any business, but really this is just about biofeedback, to me, is that you've got the miracle and you've got the marketing. So what that means is that in order for you to achieve the miracles that you can, and I say miracles with inverted commas, you know, with biofeedback technology, you need to have the marketing. In other words, somebody that wants to get involved in biofeedback, or perhaps, you know, as an existing biofeedback practitioner, if you want to take your practice to the next level, you need to look at what kind of marketing you are doing to actually put yourself out there. I think a common mistake that a lot of people make is that they make this kind of investment, you know, with this technology, or they buy a business or whatever it is, and then they open their doors and they, you know, they flip that sign around and they say open for business, and they expect, you know, a whole influx of business to work, you know, just to come in. It doesn't work like that. You need to market yourself. You need to market your practice. And, you know, the first and foremost way to start doing that is through your friends and family. You start offering free sessions to your friends and family. Those friends and family have friends and family. And in doing that, you can actually build your practice accordingly. You know, the other important thing, and I think, you know, so many people go wrong with this, is that you need to look at your active involvement in the community. Now, this doesn't mean that you go down to your local, you know, Lions Club and say, hey, I'm a biofeedback practitioner. But what it means is that if you are active within your community, you're active within the charity organizations, you are active within the Lions Club, you do these fundraisers, you're involved with your school activities, the more you put yourself out there, the wider influence of friends that you will have, the more referral business that you will earn as well. So, you know, if you are looking at building a, you know, a biofeedback practice, or really, you know, any practice, to me, it's really important for you to look at your own psyche and to realize what it takes to build a successful practice. Don't go ahead and buy a business or buy a whole bunch of biofeedback equipment and think you're going to make $1 million this year. It's not going to work like that. What you put in is what you get out. You've got to be attentive to your social media, to your Facebook posts. It doesn't mean that you need to, you know, post on Facebook, hey, I'm available for sessions. Enroll, engage, get involved with your local community. You post comments on, you know, Facebook. Basically, you've got to put yourself out there. If you have the ability to expand your comfort zone, because I know all of us, you know, it's difficult to put ourselves out there, but take that step. Each day you make a list, you put, you know, 1 or 2 steps forward, you achieve 1 or 2 goals, and it's a slow, gradual process. But I can assure you that the more active you are, the more of a return indirectly you will receive for your practice as well. So Lilius, one of the other questions, describe yourself and your work.
Passionate. You know,
what we love.
Passionate is it. Basically, I live to make a difference in people's lives. If somebody says it can't be done, I just go watch the space, we'll find a way. I always believe there is a solution, which is why I spend so much time researching. And I will always, I will always insist on having a patient form before I see a client. So if there's something in there I've not seen before, or if there's something that I'm not sure about, I can research it, because I want to be the very best person I can be on the day, because that person who's coming to me may have been to a whole line of people before, and I don't want to be another person in that line. I want to be the last person that makes a difference, that they remember.
Ah, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Okay, let's just go back to some of the apps that you are involved with. What is the favorite part, your most favorite part about, you know, various programs of the app, and why?
Oh, it's got to be the panels. For me, I love the fact that I can put in information about a disorder, you know, for testing, you know, why it's going wrong, what might be the fallout. And then I can put in panels to suggest what will make it better. And the fact that you can make it bespoke to a person in their biofeedback, the fact that you can make it bespoke to a person's disorder quite specifically, and the fact that they can see when you do a printout, it's got their name on the top, is great. It's great marketing. It's great for business. It's great, for analysis. So you're not just dealing with generic panels. You can really hone this down to something very, very specific, down to the minutiae, and that's what makes a difference. Those bespoke panels that we can create, they are awesome, absolute dynamite. That's why I love your technology.
Okay, so for those of you that are new to biofeedback apps, what Lilius is referring to is that there are features within, certain biofeedback apps that you can create what's known as your own customized libraries or your own customized panels. So, as an example, maybe you're a homeopathic practitioner, or perhaps you have your own line of essential oils. We have a certain methodology where you can actually, there's a certain methodology where you can import or you can create your line of essential oils. And once you have your line of essential oils, you can actually run the analysis against all of those items based upon your voice imprint. And then you can identify the highest probability of all of those essential oils. So, instead of trying to go through a whole in-depth, questionnaire, trying to identify which essential oil would be the best for your client, you just push a button. It runs an analysis on all those items against your voice, and then it gives you a probability score. So Lilius, 3 pearls of wisdom for somebody that wants to start out in the world of apps and biofeedback apps.
Images. If you're going to buy an app, get something that's got images. Your patients will love it. As the one in the picture shows, it's beautiful, it's bright, it's colorful. Patients love images. Play with them lots. You have to basically know them inside out, show your proficiency. So play with them lots before you let loose on paying clients. Stay on top of the updates, particularly with, Ryan stuff. They're always bringing out new features. They're always tweaking stuff. Make sure you've got the very latest updates. And last of all, trust your intuition. Treat the client. Don't treat their paperwork. So they'll come with paperwork, but look at what the information is coming in off the app and trust your intuition based on what the client is presenting to you on that day, not the bit of paper of the test they show you that happened 6 months ago. That makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. Another question, unless we've already touched on this, but earning referral business, your suggestions, your thoughts?
Never be frightened to ask for it. People, basically, when they work for themselves, they get insecure and, they don't want to upset people. If you are really confident about what you do, if you know you do a good job, there is absolutely nothing wrong in going, hey, I rely on people like you to help me out. I would really love it if you could, pass my name along. And even, if people are passing your name along, then you can always give them a 20% discount or something on their next appointment. Give them, honor that referral. So give them something back, but never be frightened to ask for it, because people will respect you for it. If you respect yourself, if you honor yourself, that will come through.
Absolutely. And I think, just to tie into that, a lot of, in my experience, there are practitioners that become practitioners purely from such a sort of altruistic perspective. They just want to help everyone around them, which is great. I mean, this is why we become practitioners. But to me, you need to find a balance with giving everything and getting nothing in return. I mean, here we are dealing with biofeedback. Biofeedback, it's a two-way mechanism. So for you to go out and just give, and get nothing in return, you're actually not honoring the energetic principles of biofeedback. There's nothing wrong with charging a fee for your services. It is your time, it is your energy, it is your skills, it is your expertise. Set that benchmark and feel confident in the benchmark that you've set, recognizing that from an energetic perspective, that is a transfer of energy. You are helping somebody with their health challenges, and they in return are actually compensating you for that. it's a natural balance. It's a state of equilibrium. If you just give and give and give, you're going to get worn out. You're going to get drained out. And to me, that doesn't really serve your higher purpose. So, certainly bear that in mind with your referral business. And
can I add something here, Ryan?
Yes.
What I have learned from experience is if you do not value what you offer as a service, your clients won't value it either. So stick a decent price on it. Certainly if you've done your homework, you know your business inside out. If you stick a decent price on it, people will respect you more, they will honor you more, and you will feel better about what you're offering. And that energy goes round in a circle, and it's much, much better. But if you stick, and you can always, if somebody comes across who is on very hard times, you can always say, on this occasion, I can see you're struggling, I will help you out. You can always change things. But if you don't put the benchmark, as Ryan says, at a place that you feel comfortable, that you feel honors the work, the study, the hours that you've put in, then they will not respect you in turn.
Absolutely. One of the last questions here, Lilias, getting accepted into the medical community. Your thoughts on that?
Tough one. It depends who's in your medical community. I think people are a lot more open. I think you have to get to know doctors. I think what tends to happen is when your clients start going back to the doctors at a later stage and they go, what happened to this? And they go, well, actually, so-and-so fixed it. Then you start to get respect from the community. But it really depends on, some of your medical fraternity are outstanding. They've got open minds. Some of them have very closed minds. But when the doctors keep hearing consistently that you've done a good job, and it's coming back into their practices, I think then you will start to get the respect that you want, but it's difficult.
I'll tell you something, just on a side note, which I find rather interesting, is that, if you look at holistic healthcare, or if you look at, alternative or integrative medicine versus the traditional allopathic, medical community, I think what's really interesting, and to me, what is really encouraging, is that there are very few integrative, or let's call them alternative practitioners, that are getting into practice and suddenly deciding, oh, hang on, I want to become a medical doctor. But to me, what's really encouraging is that a lot of the traditional allopathic practices are beginning to wake up now, and they're beginning to learn more and more about integrative practices and alternative medicine. So to me, it's just really encouraging, because this whole sort of, energetic medicine realm, it's gaining so much ground that even the traditional allopathic medical doctor is beginning to look at this and say, hang on, there's something going on here. And they're the guys that are now going to, all these, energy medicine conferences and that, which I think
absolutely.
is
and what's great is that they're beginning to use this technology.
Absolutely.
It's no longer, doctors only have, on average, certainly in the UK, 15 minutes per client. You can't take a history in that time. You certainly can't make some proper valid decisions in that time. And, the only thing they have to offer, sadly, is what's in their prescription pad. But there are so many doctors, like you say, who are retraining and coming onto the more natural side. They're using these apps. They get really, really accurate information, and they're giving much more lifestyle suggestions and turning people's health around, not just putting people into remission of their health, but actually long-term changes. And that's what it's all about. People are being empowered to take their lives back, and that's really brilliant. So whether you're using one of these apps for yourself or you're using it for your clients, it puts you in a position of power and knowledge that you would not have had before, and they're not difficult to use.
I think as well, just to tie into that, and you would typically go into your medical doctor's office or whatever it is, you'd tell him your ailments, you'd literally, go to his Merck manual, page 221. Oh, great. Okay, this is the protocol to follow. This is the script. Off you go. Thank you very much. Part of the challenge with that is, everyone's body is different. So the reason why I might have an immune disorder is completely different to why you may have the same immune disorder. And to me, the exciting thing about integrative health or alternative medicine is that it starts provoking the practitioner and it starts prompting them to look at the body in a different way, specifically with something like the apps, because there are so many different modalities combined into one device. It doesn't adopt the philosophy that one shoe fits all. Again, to sort of delve into that, as a homeopath, you go to a homeopath and they're going to see you from the homeopathic perspective. A chiropractor will see you from the chiropractic perspective. But imagine if you had a piece of technology that could combine all of those different modalities into one to say, you know what, I don't care if you've trained for 5 years as a homeopath or as an acupuncturist. Today, right here, right now, your client is telling you that you either need to look at your allergies or your homeopathy or your acupuncture or your meridians or whatever it may be. It's not designed according to your 5 or 6 or 7 years of education that you've got. That to me is one of the powers with this technology as well.
It's awesome. It's breathtaking because there is no limit to what you can do with it.
Okay, so on that note, I'm going to see if we have any questions here. Okay, let's just have a look. Bear with me. Okay, so if any of you have any questions, you can certainly go ahead, post your questions on the right-hand corner, but I think this actually looks good, which I'll take that as a good compliment. In other words, we've actually covered everything that we need to. So 10:51, we're doing great for time. Let's move on. For those of you that have stuck around, I hope you've certainly learned something. Hope you can take something away to either explore the world of biofeedback or alternatively to take this and apply some of these tools in your practical everyday biofeedback clinic. So that special gift that I was talking to you about, let's see if it's here. Okay, I'm not too sure what the quality is like, but one of the many apps that we've developed is a water harmonizer app. What the app does, it actually generates kaleidoscopic fractal images embedded with solfeggio tone frequencies. So for those of you that are not familiar with solfeggio tones or kaleidoscopic fractal images, I won't bore you with it other than to say solfeggio tones were one of the first ancient healing frequencies that were actually discovered. They were actually discovered by two gentlemen, Dr. Joseph Puleo and Dr. Len Horowitz. They were derived from the Bible. There's about, I think, 7 different solfeggio tones. And then the fractal animations are high-end kaleidoscopic fractal animations. Now, what we found, and this app is absolutely fantastic. If you take this specifically on a larger device like an Android tablet or on an iPad, and if you start the app, you could even put your hand on the screen and you can feel the solfeggio tone vibrations. It really has a huge impact. And what you can do is that you can take your glass of drinking water and you can place it directly on top of the app for 3 minutes. And what it does, it actually energetically restructures your water. So again, there's no cost for this. I know on the page here, it says a 30-day risk-free money-back guarantee, but for you, there is no money-back guarantee because you're not giving us any money. However, we ask one...
Can I add in here for you, Ryan, just so that people know, I'm in the UK. This water tastes different after you've run this program on it. It's softer. Everything about it is more pleasant to drink. So, you really use this. It's a fantastic tool.
Absolutely, and thank you. Okay, so however, in the world of webinars, in the world of giving, receiving, biofeedback, energy flow, we ask a small little favor, and it's really so small. We hope that you can do this. So, at the end of this webinar, you are going to receive an email with the webinar replay URL. So just keep an eye out on your email, the email account that you registered with. So once you get that URL, just go ahead and copy that URL, go to your Facebook, paste it on your Facebook wall, and then share that post. You can either do like a screen grab, or you can find us on Facebook, which is quantumhealthapps.com, and just go ahead and share that with us. That's all we ask. We don't need your credit card. We don't need your information. We don't need anything. But just in the world of biofeedback and giving and receiving, this is a $49 app, by the way. This is not a buy one, get 10 free for, 99-cent apps. It's a $49 app. It's a great app. It works with both your Android devices as well as your Apple devices. As soon as you've done that, we'll just go ahead and shoot you out an email with the download link. And again, use it as often as you like. Even if you don't want to use it with water, you can put your hand on it and you will certainly be able to feel the solfeggio tone vibrations as well. So for those of you that have joined us, first and foremost, Lilius, I want to thank you for your time. I know you were super busy. I really appreciate it. And for those of you that have taken the time to stick around, again, thank you so much. Keep an eye out on your email. You will get that webinar replay. Lilius, do you want to end with anything else before we sign off?
Just to say thank you, everybody, for listening. If people would like to reach me, they can do so by going onto my website, www.liliusarmira.com. That's LILIASAHM for mother, EIRA. I'm also on Facebook. And if I can answer anybody's questions or help them in with their biofeedback, I would be very happy to do so.
All right, I'll tell you what, let's just see if we can actually pull up your web page here as well. Okay, can you see your web page here, Lilius?
Not at the moment.
Okay, I've probably got to be a fancy pants here, so bear with me. Not too sure if I can.
Well, I mean, we can put a link up, I'm sure, somewhere in there. That would be lovely. Thank you. But no, it's been awesome. Really enjoyed chatting with you. Ryan, you have an amazing company. You have extraordinary products. And I wouldn't be in the place I am today without using them. So thank you.